Alright, so the last episode, we talked about Geno Smith returns to the Jets. Bam Adebayo's historical night. Max Crosby trade was lifted and he head back to Raiders. Trey Hendrickson signed a 4-year contract with the Ravens. And then more NFL free agency stuff like Daniel Jones extending a 2-year contract. That was also notable. We'll talk about Lakers beat the Wolves this past Tuesday. But let's see what's coming up today on JDB's Morning Cap. Say good morning. Welcome to JDB's Morning Cap. Today is March 12th, 2026. And we should be ready to do this talk show in our own hands here today. So we are so looking forward to this talk show for the JDB's Morning Cap. All right, so let's start with the let's start with the NFL. Yeah, so it goes like this. We have breaking news. The 49ers are acquiring Oza Odigizua. Oza Odigizua is heading to San Francisco in exchange for a third-round pick. Meanwhile, ex-49er and now ex-49er draftee and former Cowboy Solomon Thomas is heading to the Tennessee Titans in exchange for a 7th-round pick. So let's take a look. Let's see if there's more Cowboys off-season subtractions. So I gotta ask this question. Why the Cowboys defense keep subtracting? Because they're giving more cap space for someone else. I mean, they want the defense to get better. That's the key. Because they felt like there's a lot of departures to come around because of that. But it really felt like there's gonna be a serious situation for the Cowboys. But some people are not comfortable to say this about Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys keep subtracting players because it feels like they're not. It feels like they haven't signed anyone, even though they extend Javonte Williams, even though they add Rashawn Gary. Just not enough additions. not enough acquisitions. And here's my question right now. Why the Cowboys missed out Trey Hendrickson? Because it feels like those other opportunities are clearly afforded. So here's the other departures. Jadeveon Clowney is going to be out. Logan Wilson is leaving Dallas as well. So like I said, Trey Hendrickson left, does not want to be a Cowboy because he doesn't think he's going to trust his team. But the Ravens are benefiting Hendrickson. But the Dallas Cowboys right now, they're just there's lack. This offseason, the last few years, it's been lack of momentum. It's been a lack of momentum for the Dallas Cowboys as far as offseason additions, because it feels like some of these players are refusing to play the Cowboys. But there are some positives this offseason. They add some defensive anchors. They add Gary, Jalen Thompson, P.J. Locke, Sam Williams, Notito Ogabonia. So the Cowboys only made 5 additions, either from free agency or a trade. The largest year of contract by defensive additions is Jalen Thompson, a 3-year deal. The rest of these guys, Locke, Williams, and Ogabonia, all have 1-year deals. Sam Williams is re-signing. He played with the team last year. He's returning to the team. So, right now the Cowboys only made 5 additions, and they subtracted 4. They have several subtractions. Cowboys have subtracting several players, and that's disappointing because it would have affected cap space. It would affect something else. But it would have happened because of this. We're looking for the NFC East division. It looks completely competitive. So the NFC East, we've seen how many subtractions. We've seen the Eagles. We could see the Eagles and Cowboys have subtracting a lot of players. So you do something illegal in a hard way. But you think about the Dallas Cowboys. They're struggling to sign some free agents. They struggle to sign someone. So they need their help. They really need help. So if the Cowboys want to win this division, they gotta add some players. If they don't, they can't win division. They cannot win division because how's the defense is going to do in 2026? That's the question. Does that mean you're going to have a hard time? Right now, for Oza Adigazua is traded to 49ers. I think the Niners defense expects to get stronger. I expect to see how that one. The Niners do play the Cowboys this year. Then Solomon Thomas is going to face his former team as well. Solomon Thomas will face the Cowboys. He's with the Titans right now. So these two guys are going to face their former teams in the same season. Adigazua will face the Cowboys. Thomas will face the Cowboys. So this is a rare revenge game between these two guys. But with that being said, there's only plenty of guys who could really step it up. But right now, the Dallas Cowboys is clearly on a nutshell, to say the least, in a worse way. So let's see. No. All right. So let's move on. We have a developing update. According to Adam Schefter, the NFL is talking about heavily. The NFL is talking about the Thanksgiving Eve for the NFL game. So it could go like this. So this could be the craziest week in the history in football sports. But in basketball, NBA is going to have Thanksgiving Eve for sure. On Wednesday, NFL is going to add a game. On Monday it's a Monday Night Football. Tuesday it's Tuesday Night Football on the MAC conference game. Wednesday, NFL game, and then there's an NBA game on Wednesday. And then Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, NFL gets 3 games, and then Friday, NFL game, Black Friday game, and college football rivalry game on Friday. Saturday, college football game. Sunday, NFL slate. And then, don't forget, Friday might be high school playoff. I'm not so sure. I don't think they'll play off Thanksgiving. And then Monday night, and then another Monday Night Football. So they get 2 Monday night games for in a span of the week. So right now the NFL could add a Thanksgiving Eve game this year and beyond. We know NFL has Christmas games. In 2025 season, the NFL had 3 Christmas games compared to NBA 5 Christmas games. NFL has never had a Thanksgiving Eve game in the history of the NFL. This could be the first. The NBA had 3 Thanksgiving Eve games, a doubleheader, in 2025. And the viewership was great for all 3 games. And one of those 3 games have been a playoff rematch, NBA playoff rematch. To compare these two sports, or just Major holidays in sports. Major League Baseball, 4th of July. NFL football, Thanksgiving, NBA, Christmas. So those are, so right now, if they vote yes, so if they vote yes on this, so how's this going to work? So Thursday, 2026, on November 26th, right? November 25th, which is the Thursday this year. Lions will be on CBS at home. Cowboys will be Fox at home. Then NBC is up for grabs. Then Black Friday is Prime Video. This will be their 4th. And then the Wednesday game, Thanksgiving Eve. So how they're going to do this? The Thanksgiving. So there's options. There's Netflix. There's NFL Network. There's YouTube. So they got to add some of these. They try to add some games. Right now, the streaming broadcast has YouTube TV, Prime Video, and Netflix. That's the NFL's streaming media rights. Regular media rights, CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN, ABC. Oh, I forgot about one more streaming right. Peacock. Peacock is also part of streaming media rights as well. So right now the NFL could add a Thanksgiving Eve game. So we know how excited could it be. It's not official yet. They'll try to make a decision before the end of this month. So they got to make a decision before the draft. Before the NFL draft. They got to vote ahead of the NFL draft. So they got to make a decision. They got to make a financial decision. This is a really rough stuff right now. All right, coming up next, we have Durant versus Jokic in Denver, who won the contest. We'll talk NFL free agency updates, and then who are the top 10 biggest winners and losers in this year's free agency. Celtics battle the Thunder, so we'll get to that right after this. All right, welcome back on JDB's Morning Cap. The Nuggets squared off the Rockets last night, and who performed well last night here? Jamal Murray had 30 points, 4 assists, and 3 made three-pointers. Jokic didn't do a whole lot, but he did add a triple-double with 16 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists, and 5 steals and a block as well. But the guy who got it going, Christian Braun, had 19 points. Cam Johnson with 17 points. And then Jonas Valanciunas with 12. And Tim Hardaway Jr. with 14. As the Nuggets' impressive contributions ends up a 129-93 victory over the Rockets. And the Nuggets improved to 40-26. The Rockets dipped to 40-25. And the Nuggets shut Kevin Durant down as well. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. So, how the Nuggets beat the Rockets last night. Nuggets outscored the Rockets in the second half, 76-46. That's how the Nuggets beat the Rockets last night. At first, Nuggets were up by 6 at halftime, 53-47. Since then, the Nuggets took off. They scored 76 second half points, comparing to Rockets 46. Nuggets scored 40 points in the third quarter, compared to Rockets 22. So everything has been working for the Nuggets last night. Nuggets went 17 for 32 from downtown, which is 53%. They shot 55% from the field, 48 from 87. So the Nuggets commit just 9 turnovers. 5 of them having Jokic. There's a stat line. Nuggets had 12 steals on defense and forcing 15 Houston turnovers. So the largest lead was 39. But Nuggets end up winning by 36 points. So the Rockets got throttled in the second half. So how the Nuggets defense shut down Kevin Durant? Because Nuggets have clearly denied Kevin Durant a ball, not let Kevin Durant attempting field goal shots. And that's how, and then they double team it a few times, and then they contest a few times. But they got after Durant, Şengün, and Smith. The Nuggets made Kevin Durant, Şengün, and Smith really uncomfortable. So now the Nuggets come up with a huge win, and now they had to do the same thing today against the Spurs. The Nuggets are playing second night of the back-to-back. They got to play the Spurs at home, and then they head to SoCal to play the Lakers this Saturday. So this is a big stretch with this chaotic Western Conference. So speaking of chaotic, from 3 to 7 seed, the number 3 seed is wide open. We'll talk about that in about a couple of minutes. Let's start for the Houston Rockets. They're now 40-25 this season. Last year they were 53-29. So the loss total is looming large for Houston. So this is a golden opportunity for Houston to take a huge step forward. But last night, the Rockets struggled with turnovers, including Alfred Sengun commit a 5-second a 5-second back to the basket violation, which means if the offensive player is below the free throw line for 5 straight seconds, then the referee will penalize you for 5 seconds. That does result in a turnover. Mark Jackson and Charles Barkley did that several times. This is a shacked in a fool for Sengun. This will be the This could be the shacked in a fool of the week. Afrin Sengun could be the shacked in a fool this week, as Inside the NBA crew will be in place this Saturday. So they'll do that in the Inside the NBA if Sengun is candidate for shacked in a fool of the week. So the Rockets, I mean, this is it. They're number 3 seed right now. Speaking of which, between from 3 to 7 seed, look at this. The Suns are 38 and 27, and they still can get the number 3 seed. And how they can do that? They got to get past Houston. They got to get past Denver. They got to get past Minnesota, and maybe get past the Lakers. They got to pass these teams, man. If they can do all that, oh man, who would have thought the Suns could be the number 3 seed in the Western Conference? And they surpassed the Lakers, Nuggets, Timberwolves, and the Rockets. Those clubs are no joke. Who would have thought the Suns are still in position for the number 3 seed in the Western Conference? They're not. They're currently number 7 seed right now, but they still can get the number 3 seed. And how they can do that? They got to get past Minnesota, Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Lakers, and the Houston Rockets. They got to get past these teams. As far as the Thunder, they're going to secure their top 2 spots to the West. The Thunder and Spurs are one of the most dominant teams in this conference. But the rest of them, this is a weak number 3. The number 3 seed is clearly weak. The number 3 seed is clearly weak. And there's no get around it. That situation is going to take somewhere else. It's really hard right now. All right, coming up next, we'll talk NFL free agency update, any news and updates and stuff. And then we'll talk Celtics and the Thunder. And then we'll talk who are the top 10 biggest winners and losers of 2026 NFL free agency. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed. We're going to say when we come back, we'll talk NFL free agency. We'll step away in 3 minutes. Welcome back here on JDB's Morning Cap. The Eagles have signed Riq Woolen a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. So he could be a free agent after the 2026 season. So the question is, do you think that's a disappointing move for the Eagles for Riq Woolen signing a 1-year deal? Well, technically, it's a decent addition for the Eagles, but I don't like the fact that they give Riq Woolen for a 1-year deal. That's not smart, because you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, Riq Woolen needs to sign at least 2-3 years so he can prove himself. But what happens if the Eagles season has been disappointing in 2026? This is the explanation. So you gotta explain his own difference, but you think Philadelphia could add someone you can trust, but trust doesn't have the trust just doesn't have the love that you're expected. So Riq Woolen heads to Philadelphia. This one would have hurt. So we look at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are keeps attracting players. Like I said, look at Philadelphia. What's the Eagles season look like in 2026? Well, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be absolutely challenging. We all know that. Because of that, we already made this situation a whole lot better. But then there's nothing else you can find a way to win? Now it's really time to turn out. I mean, we talk about the inconsistencies and all that stuff. It's just a responsibility. And the Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. I mean but now when you're looking for Eagles off-season additions, so there's not a lot. There's not a lot. So there's not a lot of big additions to add so far. So yeah, technically it's been a quiet offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. They're subtracting more players. So how's the Eagles going to pan out in 2026? Like I said, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. Look at the Eagles. Even though the Eagles have won back-to-back divisions, look at their schedule against playoff teams. They got to play the Rams, Seahawks, 49ers. The teams who were in the playoffs from last year, and then you gotta play the Panthers. They gotta play the Bears. Oh man. And then they gotta play the Steelers. Oh man. Tough schedule. And then they gotta play Jacksonville. They gotta play Houston. Yeah, the strength of schedule for the Eagles. The strength of schedule is around 481. That's kind of weird. They have the seventh. They have the sixth, seventh hard. They have the eighth hardest schedule in the NFL. Even though the strength of schedule is at 481, but 11 of the 17 opponents are the teams who are in the playoffs from 2025. The Panthers had a losing record with 8-9. They won the division and they took it to the playoffs. So that was the main reason. But the teams who had winning records and made the playoffs: Pittsburgh, Rams, 49ers, Texans, Jaguars, Bears. So when you're looking for their schedule, Philadelphia is going to have a tough time to face these teams. The Eagles went 11-6 last year, lost the wild card round to the 49ers, and now this schedule gets even tougher. Even though Jalen Hurts have success against over 500 teams. And that would be a different story for them. If this is a situation you're really making it out. You're making out of your own. And that's that. So let's say Philadelphia schedule is going to get tougher. The teams who made the playoffs last year with winning records. The NFC West has Seahawks, 49ers, Rams. AFC North has the Steelers. AFC South has Jaguars and the Texans. And NFC North has the Bears. That's teams who are in the playoffs. The teams who have losing records, even though one team has made the playoffs with a losing record, the Carolina Panthers made the playoffs with a losing record with an 8-9. And then the rest of the losing records were non-playoff teams: Arizona, Indianapolis, and Tennessee. So those are the teams the teams did not make the playoffs from last year. All right, so coming up, we'll talk more free agency, and then we'll talk Celtics and the Thunder next, and then who's the biggest winners and losers of top 10 in the NFL free agency in 3 days. We'll step away. All right, so coming up tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, it'll be the last two NBA champions squared off. It'll be the 2023-24 NBA champions, the Boston Celtics, will take on defending last year's NBA champions, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The game will be in Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It'll be Jason Tatum versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander here tonight. So the Thunder has the best record in basketball with a 51-15 record. Celtics have the second best record in the East with a 43-22 record. So last year, Thunder swept the defending NBA champs, the Boston Celtics, last season. So what's in store today? The Thunder has won 5 of their last 6 games. Thunder come off a thriller last Monday against the Nuggets, including Shai Gilgeous-Alexander game-winning 3-pointer. He had a near triple-double in his last game. So he'll try to get to that here. So, as for the Thunder, how the Thunder can maintain best record in the NBA? Well, a couple of things. Number one, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has to perform at a high level, despite they're missing notable guys like Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, Isaiah Hartenstein, but they're still finding ways to win, even they don't have these guys here. So, I mean, the best case scenario is one of these guys here. Something you don't want to believe, but the Oklahoma City Thunder even though they have the best record in the NBA, they haven't been as dominant as they were a year ago. Well, they're still dangerous to repeat an NBA title. If they get Williams, Hartenstein, and Holmgren back, this team will be dangerous in the playoffs. So hopefully Jalen Williams comes back by the end of the year. So he's missed a bunch of games this year. Isaiah Hartenstein, same thing. Chet Holmgren's missed some games. So when healthy, this team is dangerous. When they're not, they had to grind things out. But the good news is the reason why how they win games is it's not all about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's about supporting cast like Cason Wallace. His scoring ability has improved. You got Jarrett McCain, bench player. He wants to stick with that. They add Jarrett McCain from the trade, try to improve. They try to improve their bench play, and then you got like Alex Caruso stepping up consistently, even though he's a defensive guy, to say the least. Jalen Williams, J. Will had a career best game about a few weeks ago. In this one, so. So there's a potential supporting cast. Isaiah Joe. So there's some consistency from supporting cast. So that's a good sign for Mark Daigneault's team. It's a really good sign for Mark Daigneault's team. So hopefully the Thunder can put themselves in a prime position in this one here today. All right, let's switch gears. Let's start with the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are 43-22 this year. Come off a tough loss against the Spurs in San Antonio was understandable. Jaylen Brown was ejected 2 days ago for arguing with the official. He's back in the lineup today after he was kicked out of the game. So Jaylen Brown expect to be fined big time for 2 technicals and using an inappropriate language. So he's getting a heavy fine for this because he posted on social media and all that kind of stuff. But Jason Tatum, this will be his 4th game since his return, if he plays. But both Tatum and White are downgraded, questionable. Hopefully these two are optimism playing tonight. So, but for the Celtics, how's the Celtics transpired this season? It has transpired really well. They're still maintaining the number 2 seed. It's been that way for a majority of the weeks, month and a half or so. So how the Celtics can maintain the top 2 of the East. The first one, they have to play a bunch of confidence, like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Peyton Pritchard, Baylor Shireman, Takeda. Then you got some guys who needs to step up. Hugo Gonzalez, Sam Hauser. How about Ron Harper Jr.? Ron Harper Jr. had a nice game 2 nights ago after Brown was ejected. And then Luka Garza, Jordan Walsh. We've seen several guys stepping up for the Celtics. That's ultimately a good sign. That is a very good sign, period. It was always going to work out for the best, but it's proved to be the difference. It's just because they feel like this team would put it all together and they can make a huge difference. Yeah, this is what really happens at this point on. All right, when we come back, we'll talk more NFL free agency and then who are the biggest winners and losers of the NFL free agency. And then we'll wrap things up what's coming up in tomorrow's episode. Today is Thursday, March 12th, 2026. By the way, that marks 6 years since the sports were shutting down because of coronavirus. Rudy Gobert was the first player to test positive of coronavirus. That was 6 years ago. So we'll step away. Welcome back. The Bills have signed Bradley Chubb, a 3-year, $43.5 million contract. So the Bills do get an edge rusher of Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb formerly played for the Dolphins and the Broncos. So now he's a Buffalo Bill for 3 years. So here's the question right now for the Buffalo Bills. Do you think the Buffalo Bills deserve to be in the Super Bowl with this talented roster, even they add Bradley Chubb? Well, if I would answer this question, I would say yes. And a couple of reasons why. Number one, I think Bradley Chubb has a chance to make this defense happen. Try to focus on tackling and pass rushing. That's going to be the key for Bradley Chubb. As for the rest of this Bills defense, they have to perform better. What's this development is all about? They have to see what the Buffalo Bills had to do. So here are the key additions. The Bills hired Joe Brady as head coach. They add DJ Moore, wide receiver, from the trade. And then they add Bradley Chubb. And then they re-signed Dawson Knox. So there's some good things for the Buffalo Bills. So just need to add someone or some way they can put them together and making sure that these guys are going to be healthy by the end of the season, by the beginning of the season. Let's see. That one's going to help for the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills need a closer. Help them out. You might as well help. You better help things out. Because of that, your game is less than worthless. And that's what happens. If that's going to be the case, That's a big plus for the Bills. Competing for the division is going to be key. Competing against your own division is crucial. Because of that, you already make a difference at the end of the process. So if that's the case, then there's not much else you can really worry about. But now we look for the Buffalo Bills. You gotta be. Who needs to step up for the Buffalo Bills ahead of 2026 season? We talk about Keon Coleman. He needs to step up in a big way. You got to help out DJ Moore. And then you got a few guys like Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, the firepower is going to be crucial for the Buffalo Bills. Last year they went 12-5. The offense is good, but the wide receiver position just doesn't have any firepower from the wide receiver position. So that's been the biggest weakness is the production, consistent production from the wide receiver position. That's what that led to Josh Allen not winning an MVP last year. This technically is not on Josh Allen. It's on the wide receivers. It is really hard to believe how the Buffalo Bills had lacked production in wide receiver position. This is really tough. This is a tough situation for the Buffalo Bills. They've been going through all of last year. And that's that. Okay. The Patriots signed Kevin Byard, the ex-Bear who led the NFL in interception last year. The Patriots have signed Kevin Byard a 1-year deal with the New England Patriots. So we could see extension of Byard in the near future. So, I mean, the good news is we could see Kevin Byard again in New England next year if he can sign that big contract. But a 1-year deal is good and not good enough. But hopefully he'll make a huge impact for this team in 2026. But the Patriots defense has been great last year to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, that was the key to this run, to get to the Super Bowl, get to all that stuff, put it in, and put all the work. That's how you put all the work in. And if that's the case, then this is a different story because of this. So as of now, they would have put themselves in prime position to work with, and now you can see its own ways. So right now, this is good. This has got to happen here to see what transpires. So I think everybody expect to be the right fit for this one here, if that's going to be the case. This one here. All right, let's move on here. Let's take a look at the top 10 biggest winners of the NFL free agency and top 10 biggest losers. Let's start with the pro first. Who are the top 10 biggest winners of 2026 free agency. Bam. As far as teams. So how about this? Number 10 is the Washington Commanders. I think they're they're the 10th best winners. I think they add someone on consistently, and it really helps to receive in this one here. So it was the best case scenario to get that pointer. Number 9 is the Baltimore Ravens. They add Trey Hendrickson, and that was a good sign as well. They really helped to get someone to perform in this one. And number 8 is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills is number 8. They add Bradley Chubb, DJ Moore. They feel like this team could be this team could put themselves into the Super Bowl. Number 7 is the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Chiefs have made some moves consistently. Right now, they're trying to work on someone to get now there. Number 6 is the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans is number 6. I think that would help its own cause on that one. So the Texans is number 6. Number 5 is the Carolina Panthers. They add Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd. I think the Panthers will make some impressions right now there. Number 4 is the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners add Mike Evans. And that was that. Number 3 is the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans are making some money moves. Tennessee Titans are making money moves in this one here. Number two is the New York Jets. And then Jets are just the Jets adding guys. They didn't bring Geno Smith back. That was a huge news for them. They need a quarterback from free agency. And then number 1 is the Raiders. Number 1 is the Raiders for this one. Raiders are number 1. The biggest free agency winners. The honorable mention biggest winner is the Los Angeles Rams. So I'll take the Rams honorable mention of the biggest winners. All right, top 10 biggest losers of the NFL free agency. Number 10 is the Miami Dolphins. Even though they add Riq Woolen, they just don't have any guys to step it up here. Number 9 is the number 9 is Seattle Seahawks. Understandable, they're losing a bunch of guys. Although they brought Rashid Shaheed back to re-sign him. Number 8 is number 8. Interesting here. Number 8 is the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, they're losing guys as well. They're not signing anyone. The Packers are not signing anyone. So Packers is number 8. Number 7 is this is interesting. Number 7 is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers, they add some guys, but they don't have more consistency from other ones here. The Chargers is number 7. Number 6, the Cincinnati Bengals, even though they add 2 defensive guys, but the Bengals are the 6th biggest losers of this one. Number 5 is the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys number 5. Nothing is happening right now. Number 4 is the New England Patriots. They add some guys, but not a lot of free agent signings for the Patriots this year. So hopefully that will be that. Number 3 is the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns is number 3. They did draft the offensive line, but they haven't made bigger splash for the Cleveland Browns this offseason. Number 2 is the Philadelphia. Number two is it's a close call. Should I go Philadelphia or Atlanta? Number 2 is Atlanta, the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons have the second biggest losers, even though they had 2 attack. Well, they just don't have consistent firepower going to next season. And number 1 is definitely the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have losing a lot of players this offseason. The biggest honorable mention, the biggest losers for the honorable mention, the team that did I have to go in? Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars are one of the honorable mention, the biggest losers and honorable mention. So let's see, but so that's what really happens the most right now here. All right, let's close it out here. What's coming up on tomorrow's morning cap? We'll talk about Max Crosby tomorrow. We'll recap Celtics and Thunder. March Madness, and then we'll review the NCAA selection show for both men's and women's this Sunday. I'm not going to look at the brackets, but we'll find out we'll find out which team will likely make the cut this weekend and which team will fall out of the March Madness. So this is a crucial week. So hopefully that will be the case right now, because this is the golden opportunity to step things up here. And so let's see if they can continue their trend for this one here. All right, that's it. This is JDB's Morning Cap. We'll go back at it tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you later.